here comes our last section of today. Digital marketing strategy for your consumer hardware launch. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our speaker, Ms. Sandy Diao, Director of Strategic Programs, Indiegogo. Welcome, Sandy. Shall we give a break hands to our last speaker of today, please? Thank you. Welcome, Sandy.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sandy Diao, and I'm Director of Strategic Programs at Indiegogo. And today, I'm going to be doing a little bit of a demystifying workshop on what it takes to run a marketing campaign for crowdfunding. Just as a show of hands to better understand, who here has run a crowdfunding campaign before? Okay, so you might be seeing this for the very first time. All right, so before I get into how to run a crowdfunding campaign, I want to explain a little bit what crowdfunding is. So in the past few years, we've seen that crowdfunding has really become a launch platform for people and entrepreneurs with ideas to really take their ideas to market. What that means is if I'm a person with a really good idea on a hardware product, I can actually get my very first set of customers, test that idea, get feedback, and be able to take my product to market a lot faster than I traditionally would. And what that entails with Indiegogo is coming onto the platform with an idea of what you want to do, a plan to execute, run a crowdfunding campaign, and then continue my success through Indiegogo. So kind of walking through this right here, on the design front, on your planning front, Indiegogo is able to offer resources with our partnerships to help you figure out what exactly it takes to manufacture and design your product. Then when you're ready to take that product to customers, you can use our platform as a portal to showcase to your customers exactly what you're offering, collect orders, and get insights on your audience. And once your campaign is done, you use Indiegogo in demand to continue to sell products. So let's look a little bit at the numbers here. Indiegogo was founded in 2018. Since then, over $1 billion in transactions on the platform across over 16 million monthly unique visitors. That means that your new idea will be exposed to a lot of new customers in Western markets. Indiegogo is available in over 232 countries, including Hong Kong here, and we see a lot of successful entrepreneurs come through the platform from Hong Kong. What does it cost to run a crowdfunding campaign? At the platform level, 5% platform fee, which means that 5% of your funds will go to Indiegogo. And then don't forget that with credit card transactions, there's a 3% fee as well, so don't forget that as you're building out your costs. So it's important to understand how crowdfunding really came about and what people use it for so that you can align your goals to crowdfunding as you're planning a campaign. This is a story I like to share. So Accent wear cat ear headphones. Those cat ear headphones right there with the LED lights and the speakers built into the ears, this is one of my favorite products. And the reason for that is, if you're not familiar with this company, the founder, her name is Wenqing Yan, and I was a fan of her since I was 9 years old. So she basically online had a digital comic portfolio, and she drew these characters that had these cat ear headphones in them. And for years, all of her fans had said, this is a product I really want. I would love a pair of cat ear headphones that lights up the way it does in your comics. And so Wenqing took that as a sign that my fans want this product. I want to make this product a reality. I'm a digital artist. I'm a comic book artist. But I want to bring a product to life. So what does that take? So she turned to Indiegogo, ran a campaign, raised $3 million, and now these cat ear headphones are being sold in Brookstone stores all across the United States in the very front of the store. So these are the real working product that originated from this idea that she originally had in her comics. So that's an example of how crowdfunding can help you bootstrap your very first foray into the consumer hardware space. But what else is it used for? It also can serve as a channel for your sales and your marketing. So here are a few examples of campaigns in the past few months that have been very successful in Indiegogo. And when you think about what the platform can do for you, it really is a way for you to see, for you to put your product out there and see if customers are interested in it. So you can think of it as customers voting with their dollars. They have a certain amount of money that they can spend, and if they like your product, they will actually put their money behind your project as a pre-order to show you that they really like it. So you can use it as a way to test and validate new products. And now I want to share my own hardware launch story because I think it paints a picture of how crowdfunding is not just this one-time project, it really helps to build your long-term business. So this is a project that I worked on personally before I joined Indiegogo. This is a smart piano product. We took a traditional piano, we embedded LED lights into the piano. It connects with an app so that the app triggers the lights to tell you exactly which notes to play. So imagine for a beginner musician or you seeing a piano for the first time, you'll then be able to put your hands on the keys and know exactly which notes to play. So effectively, you're playing your very first piano song in minutes. So we raised over $400,000, and through that process, we were really trying to figure out what the right product to launch was. In that earlier picture you see this very large piano here that we worked on, but we ended up realizing that what customers wanted as they were learning piano was not a traditional full-size piano. They were okay with a smaller piano as long as they could afford it and it could fit into their apartments, because we started to realize our customers are not necessarily traditional piano players. They're not necessarily parents, forcing their kids to learn piano. They were adults who regretted not learning piano earlier in their lives and wanted, to pursue music as a hobby. So raising $460,000 was really exciting, but I think even more exciting for us was the media awareness and the validation that we got in the market. So through crowdfunding alone, we were able to receive coverage in all of these top-tier media outlets in Western markets. So what we were able to do with that then was whenever we talked to retailers, distributors, we were able to tell them, hey, we were covered by this incredibly high-profile media outlet. We have all of these customer reviews. You should sell our product because people really want it. And that's exactly what they believed when we worked with them. So within 6 months of the campaign ending, we were selling through all of these different top retail channels that you see on the slides up here. And the success story continues. There are every day more and more projects launching through Indiegogo, continuing to build their businesses, build their brands, and build their sales channel through Indiegogo, including Mocha Cam, who's actually in the startup field out here and launched on Indiegogo. So what does it take to run a successful campaign? You see some campaigns raise $100, others raise $10,000, some campaigns raise $1 million. So what's the difference and what separates them? Crowdfunding takes a lot of painstaking planning around your marketing. No campaign launches on Indiegogo as their very first time talking to customers or launching. It is very, very critical before you launch your campaign to launch what we call a soft launch. So every campaign is preceded by what we call a soft launch strategy. And that's comprised of 3 strong components. So preparing your timelines and your marketing materials before you go into the campaign. A common question I get is, how long do I need to prepare for a crowdfunding campaign? The answer is, it depends. It really depends on what your goal is. If your goal is $1 million, you might need to do more work up front to build up a wait list. But if your goal is lower than that, it takes a different amount of time as well. On average, we see it takes 1 to 3 months. And you need more than just a product, honestly. I know that you might have been working on this product and the design and your manufacturing plans for months, if not years, but unless you have the right materials, from videos to photos of this product, it's going to be really hard to convey on the internet to all of your potential customers. Because remember, these customers have not seen your product in real life. They can only take the information they see on the web. So here's a good example of assets that you absolutely need as you're launching your crowdfunding campaign. So in addition to the traditional product shots that you see up here, which for this electric skateboard product, they're showing you the top of the product, the bottom of the product. You get an idea of what the color and the size is. Lifestyle photography is very important. So helping the customer imagine exactly how they'll use in their daily lives, almost without words, right? I'm skimming through the page and I see this person using this electric skateboard on the commute to work. So I think to myself, hey, when I go to work, I just need to travel 7 blocks. Maybe I can just hop on this electric skateboard and get to work. So they've painted a very strong picture with the customer without necessarily even having to say anything. I think explanatory photos are very good as well. So it shows you that for this product, this electric skateboard is powerful enough to go up a hill. And with very few words, if any, you're able to show the customer how useful that is. For timing, also consider seasonality. Let's say that you're selling a heated jacket, a jacket that's supposed to keep you warm. Do you think that summer is a good time to launch this product? If all of your images are showcasing, pictures of snow and you looking very cold, your customer is probably not going to purchase that product in the summer. Instead, a better season to launch that would be winter time, when everyone's kind of feeling a little cold. They've just stepped in from the outdoors and they're feeling a little cold, so they see this product online and they think, oh, that's going to be really useful for me this month or even next season. So the second important factor here is creating a landing page. And this landing page is going to be your website for your soft launch that shows people, gives people a teaser of what you're going to launch so that you can test and get their feedback on it. So this is an example of a very good teaser towards what I'm going to launch. So this product here is called River. It is a mobile power generator. A mobile power generator is something that can power up something externally, like a drone, or studio equipment, like a camera. And one of the reasons this is very powerful is that its tagline is very, very prescriptive to describe exactly what the product is without giving away the full story quite yet. And the reason you don't want to give away the full story is if you overwhelm them with information, first off, it's going to be really hard to read, but two, then there's no reason for them to come back to you. So on this page here, I've broken down exactly what a good call to action for your pre-launch and your soft launch is. So on your website, you want to make sure that the information you're providing is very actionable. Some key things to point out here: time sensitivity. So letting people know exactly when you're coming, how much time is left, so that people feel the urge that this is coming up soon, and that I know exactly when to expect it. Another one is offering incentives to your customers. So you might see a lot of websites where you're incited to subscribe to my email newsletter. And then what? I've subscribed to a lot of email newsletters. So what do I get out of this? I get 40% off and other incentives like this to incite more people to join your wait list. And the last one would be to collect customer data. So when somebody visits your website and they've expressed explicit interest in wanting to learn more about your project, make sure that you collect some way to contact them again. And for platforms like crowdfunding that are based in Western markets, an email is the absolute best way to reach somebody. With something like an ad unit, I might have an ad blocker on, or I don't browse Facebook all the time, but I will sure be checking my email all the time for work, for personal purposes. The final portion here, which is absolutely the key to having a very strong launch, is collecting a customer waitlist, a very, very qualified customer waitlist. For a customer, you can collect their contact information several ways. We touched on email earlier, which is very high converting because I'm always checking my email, and I always will be. Website cookies is an interesting one, which is dropping a pixel on your page, a piece of code on your website that allows you to figure out who visited your website, and then you are able to find them again through advertising. Other people's customer lists. So let's say that we launched that mobile power generator product. It's a great product for the outdoors. Maybe I'll partner with an outdoor magazine or some outdoor website and have that person blast my product information to their email lists. And then the last one here that I have question marks around are social media fans. So with crowdfunding, oftentimes people get this misimpression that if I have a lot of Facebook likes, that I'm going to get a lot of customers. But that's not necessarily true. With platforms like Facebook, sometimes you don't know which messages you're posting are being delivered to your fans. Just imagine your own experience. If you've liked a page before, do you always see their updates in your feed? The answer is probably not. And that's the same experience for your own customers. So again, I really want to focus on email because it's going to be your highest converting source. One way that you can scale your email list is through Facebook lookalikes, and I'll explain a little what that means. If you're not familiar with Facebook lookalikes, it's a very powerful concept. So let's say that in my email waitlist, I've collected 100 emails. In this 100 emails, I have no idea who these people necessarily are. but Facebook does. So what you do is you import these emails, and Facebook figures out whether they're male, they're female, their age, their interests, and they will take this audience and they will scale it up for you. Meaning that if you put in $50 advertising budget to advertise against people just like this, then you can grow a list of 100 into a list of 1,000 or even more. And the last powerful concept here is remarketing. And remarketing is incredibly powerful through crowdfunding to sell through a product to someone who's expressed interest but didn't necessarily make the purchase right away. And we'll cover that in a later slide. So how many emails do I collect then? I keep repeating that email is so important. Your email goal should be very much dependent on what your actual campaign goal is. So let's take an example here. So that electric skateboard product that I told you about, let's say their goal was $50,000. I want to raise $50,000 through Indiegogo. That means that at a $500 price point, I need to sell 100 electric skateboards. So how do I make sure that I collect enough emails to sell 100 skateboards? Well, we know generally that a qualified email list converts 5 to 10%. So I take 100 units times a 5% conversion rate, and that means I need to collect about 2,000 emails. And now for the concept of remarketing. So remarketing basically is you being able to reach a customer who expressed interest but hasn't actually made the purchase yet. So think about that time that you browsed the website, right? Like, let's say it's Amazon. You added a product to your cart, but you decided not to check out for whatever reason. Either you forgot or you were busy doing something else, but you were interested enough to add it to your cart because you eventually wanted to buy it. So that's exactly what remarketing can help you to do, which is to sell through the product. So the example I'll show you here is, a few weeks ago, I was browsing for coffee machines, this Nespresso Virtuo coffee machine. I added it to cart, and I decided, I don't necessarily need this right now, and I'm, over my tech spending budget this month, so I'm not going to buy it. But when I was browsing Facebook the other day, they served me this retargeted ad, which had stored my cookie, my browsing session, knew that I added this product to my cart, and now they're coming back for me. And they're showing me more compelling images, reminding me of why I was interested in the first place. And because of this ad, I actually ended up clicking through and checking out. And that's the same thing that will happen with crowdfunding. So digital marketing and marketing in general is a very confusing thing to talk about because there are so many ways to reach customers digitally. So one thing that you want to be aware of as you're planning your campaign is to be aware of the differences between all of your marketing channels. One common mistake that I hear is people assuming that PR is the same thing as a sweeping term for overall marketing, which is not true. So PR stands for public relations, which means you working with a reporter to publish a news piece about your product on a blog or on their website or in a newspaper or in a magazine. And that's not the same thing as paid marketing. So paid marketing is using a platform that has space and inventory across the web to showcase your ads. So like Facebook advertising, Google advertising, so me paying Facebook or Google $100 so that you can serve my ad to the customers that I want to reach. And that's very different than me working with a journalist at New York Times or TechCrunch or Engadget to publish a piece about my article. And as you can imagine, these require very different strategies. And yet again, email marketing is very different, right? So I collected an email list, and now I'm going to put together an email with enough information, but not too much information to craft my sales pitch to sell my products through crowdfunding. So even actually, let's take a step even higher up. Even before I think about how I'm going to do strategy for PR or paid marketing, I need to figure out my overall positioning. What am I going to pitch to reporters? What do my ads look like? You can figure out this positioning by having the strongest hypotheses you can about your customers and then testing those hypotheses. So let's think back to my piano product, my smart piano product. So my high-level assumption is that anyone who wants to buy this product is someone probably already looking to buy a piano. I'm not going to convince someone who doesn't want to learn how to play piano or not going to buy a piano to look at this product. Now, my strongest hypotheses about narrowing this product based on my customer feedback, and the reason I built this company, was knowing that a lot of beginners wanted to use this product. So one of my focuses will be beginner musicians. I know that a lot of children are learning piano, so let's assume that children might want to learn the product. And then the last group will be adults, because I'm an adult, and I know that I wanted to learn piano, so this might be a good hypothesis. So I have 3 targetable audiences here. So based on these audiences, how do I figure out what exactly they're looking for? Everyone has a different reason for learning how to play piano. At the high level, again, the people who just want to learn piano in general, might be searching for terms like this on Google: best digital piano, black piano, 88-key digital piano, and these have a lot of searches, so they're really general and they're very broad. But once I start narrowing that down into a more specific audience, then that's where the marketing gets interesting. I see that people have searched for terms such as best piano for beginners, pianos for kids, and with this context in mind, then I'm going to be able to start crafting my story, my images, and my messaging to better reflect what I'm offering through crowdfunding. And one of the best ways to figure out this overall intention in the market size is to use the available tools out there like Google Trends and Google Keywords to figure out just exactly how many people are searching for these terms on a monthly basis in every country. So that was generally more tactics on the paid marketing and digital marketing side. So what do you do when you are trying to get media coverage? You want a press outlet to cover your product after your crowdfunding campaign goes live. So some terms that you might want to be more familiar with are an exclusive and an embargo. So imagine that you are a reporter. You are probably receiving hundreds, if not thousands, of pitches from entrepreneurs and companies every day. So how does a reporter sort through the information that they care about? First off, your pitch needs to be targeted, it needs to be exclusive, and it needs to be useful. My goal as a journalist will be to publish something that provides a lot of information that's useful to my audience, and I want this information to be new and relevant to them. So your pitch should be new and relevant to the reporter as well. So what an exclusive is you offering a story about something about your product. Let's say it's a patented formulation that you have not released on your website or anywhere else that you can share to this reporter's audiences. And when you offer this information to the reporter is more inclined to feel that this is information that this audience is not going to be able to get elsewhere. So what is an embargo? Now, an embargo is very important because when you get media coverage, let's say from like a TechCrunch, all of that traffic that you generate, all of that awareness you generate from the media, from that article, could potentially go toward your crowdfunding campaign, meaning that will directly convert into pre-orders and sales and funds for your campaign. So you want to stage the media article appropriately. You want to make sure that the media article does not come out until your campaign goes live. So an embargo is talking to a reporter and saying, hey, this is the date and hour that my campaign launches. Can we agree that we will not publish anything before then? And that way you can concentrate all of that media awareness and have that convert into actual funds raised for your campaign. One common question I get is, like, I'm not in the media industry, I'm not in the PR industry, how do I get the right media contacts? Honestly, one really good way to do it is just seeing what reporters have written about recently. So one good way I like to go about it is just going to news.google.com, searching for specific keywords, and trying to find articles that are somewhat related or relevant to the industry that I'm in, finding those reporters and telling them, hey, I just read your article, you wrote about this, I think you might be interested in this thing that I'm working on. Would you be interested in reviewing my product? And that's a good way to ensure that you're not just blindly pitching any random technology or consumer reporter, that they actually care about the category that you're in because you're offering a great innovation in that space. And of course, before you pitch a reporter, make sure that you have the right materials prepared. You don't want to go in and pitch and offer, say that you're the best innovation ever, and then they ask you for a sample or they ask you for a video, and you tell them, I don't have any of these yet, can you wait for me? And the answer is always going to be no. So make sure you have that demo video ready. Make sure you have something written up about your product so that if they are in a rush to publish something, they can easily copy and paste some snippet of it, post your videos, and also review your product in person. So that was a lot. I think there's a lot of work to do on the marketing front for crowdfunding. So oftentimes what happens is that teams decide that they want a third party or someone else to help them with the crowdfunding campaign itself. And we can think of these partners in two different stages for product crowdfunding. Let's start first on the marketing side. So we covered photography, we covered videos, we covered running Facebook and Google advertising, pitching media outlets. That's a lot of work. And sometimes teams can be 2 people, and sometimes the entire team has a background in product or in something else. And so you want to make sure that you have the best people, the best skills working in each area. So this is not exactly the way that you have to split it up, but a common way that I see teams do like to split up the skills and the work for the crowdfunding projects. So sometimes, because you don't have an in-house studio to produce a video, you might have a third-party agency or a video production studio do the video for you. And then on the product side, your team might have come up with the original product design and the specifications, so you can service against the questions, but perhaps you don't have the right contract manufacturer to take your product to production. With shipping and logistics, you probably are going to work with a FedEx or a UPS to ship your products to the door because you're not going to run your own warehouse, right? You're going to work with a third party to do that. I think this concludes and is the end of my presentation, but one thing I would like to leave you with is to help you understand that as you're building out your costs and your pricing for your crowdfunding campaign, to always set aside enough money for your marketing, because everything that we talked about right before this requires investment, financial investment, time investment, and you want to make sure that as you're growing your campaign, you've left yourself enough room to grow. So what that means is that with crowdfunding, you see a lot of early bird prices, so to speak, right? You've seen these heavily discounted products, and a lot of entrepreneurs are pressured to drop that price and keep it as low as possible. But you want to remember that as you're growing your business, you're crowdfunding not just so that you have this one-time event that you're going to forget about forever. You're using it to grow your business. So let's say that you're offering a wireless earbud product. You sell it for $100. And what you can plan for yourself is you can tell yourself, for every 100 units that I sell, I have 20% of that, $20, to reinvest back in marketing, to reinvest back in paid Facebook advertising and continue to target more customers so that I can continue to grow my campaign. So that concludes my presentation on digital marketing for crowdfunding. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sandy, the wonderful presentation. Please remain on stage. We will got some questions for you, maybe. Anyone has questions? Yes, please, gentlemen.
Yeah, hello. You gave a lot of information about marketing, but I was wondering, what exactly does Indiegogo offer to the people who, apart from the platform, because the way you describe it is that we need to do all the job in marketing, and you offer us the platform. Why don't we build also the platform so we do, we have everything on our own and we can do it like this? So if you can tell me a bit more about it.
Yes, so to cite some numbers here, I think on Indiegogo there are at least 1,000 projects that launch on a weekly basis. Think about other e-commerce platforms where consumers are discovering new projects like Amazon, where there are millions of customers visiting that platform, but it's really hard to get the attention of their customers. So on the marketing piece, I think Indiegogo is a great platform to launch on because of the great organic traffic, but it's hard to take advantage of that traffic unless your project is performing well standalone irregardless. So to hit the homepage, to hit the trending section, to be on the first page so that all of these people browsing the site every day can see the campaign page itself. Once you are able to build enough momentum on your own to showcase that this is a product that other people want, you're going to be able to take advantage of all that traffic, right? That 60 million unique monthly visitors. And of course, it takes work to get there. So what Indiegogo offers is, one, the ability to get that exposure, but two, I know it takes a lot to get there. And on that front, my team is actually equipped with headcount to be able to get on a call with you, consult you through your marketing strategy, which is actually very different than other crowdfunding platforms out there, because we're here to help you build your business. And if we're not able to help you, we have a very extensive network of marketing partners, as I mentioned on the slide, whether it's paid advertising that you think you might need some help on or creating a video, we can put you in touch with those parties.
Well, actually I did a funding on Indiegogo before, and I never received any phone call for one of my previous projects. No phone call, no help, no nothing. So, I was wondering, what was really the point of it? Because from what I understand, it's a very specific kind of help that you give to a very specific section of all those companies that are there. So if it's maybe the 10% of them, what about the other 90%? Because there are so many projects on there, it's almost impossible for all of them to be successful. That's understandable, but at least to receive some help from that. Otherwise, I don't see really the point.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think to put this in perspective as well, like you're a startup, but think of Indiegogo as a startup as well, right? We're 100 people, and my team that does what I do, which is working with entrepreneurs, is about 10 people. So I'm not surprised that you might have found it difficult to get in touch with someone on our team, but we've made this point of contact here, and whatever it is you're launching next, I want to be able to help you, or at least help you point in the right direction. And then based on your experience then, I think that it is hard to get the contact information of people on our team, given that the team is 10 people, but we do try to be sort of out in the space. So we're at CES, we flew here to Hong Kong to be at this show and to meet more of you, and we'll continue to try to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone has a question? Yes, please, gentlemen. So you will be the second. Thank you.
Sandy, thanks very much for your presentation. Excellent. Quick question. What is the main reasons or motivations for people to actually wanting to go on Indiegogo? Is it to raise funds, or is it to create profile, or is it to make sales? What are the, I'm not clear on, in terms of for startups, what's their motivations?
Yes, so for the goals of people who crowdfund, I see it's a mix, it's a spectrum. On one hand, we have the accent-wear cat ear headphones that want to raise the funds to actually manufacture the product. On the other hand, like for my company, the Smart Piano Company, we wanted sort of a marketing and sales channel, build the brand, help people know about us, because there are a lot of other, very age-old piano companies out there, so how do we cut out from the noise and reach the new audience? And then for a lot of other companies, it's kind of a mix of both. You're launching a brand new business, so you want people to know about it, but you also want to be able to drive real tangible results in the form of sales and pre-orders. So it is really a spectrum of companies, and I think the platform has enough different offerings, from crowdfunding to in-demand to our partnership with Aero on the manufacturing side, to be able to help you with pretty much all of those goals.
Thank you, Sandy. Does it answer your questions, gentlemen? Thank you. And any more questions? Yes, gentlemen, please.
Hello, Sandy. This is Ken from Bossy, Shenzhen Bossy e-commerce company. I have a question. It's about us, because our companies now is do crowdfunding service for China most biggest e-commerce platform, Jingdong. And as anyone who want to start a crowdfunding project, he must, well, he surely he want to be success. But how to choose the product? Any rule from Indiegogo? Yeah.
Yes, so I don't think there's any rules in terms of we're going to say you can't launch unless it violates our terms of use. In terms of selecting a product, I think this is actually a very interesting conversation that my team has regularly. There are a lot of different ways to spark an interesting crowdfunding campaign. What you see with crowdfunding traditionally, these are what we term early adopter products. So you have a new product, a new concept that you want to introduce to customers that people might not be searching for already on Amazon, right? Otherwise, you'd already be selling on Amazon. So that might be you taking a refrigerator and making it the first smart refrigerator, something that doesn't have an existing market, but you want to build a market for, and you want to educate consumers on. So I think first off, products with new concepts for what we call this early adopter audience. The second one actually is sort of innovation and redefined in a different kind of way. So that might be taking a product that traditionally was inaccessible to mass consumers and making it accessible to mass consumers. A good example might be drones. Drones have been really hot in the past few years, but at their price point of $600 or $800 plus, that product might have only been available or accessible by what we call prosumers, people with higher budgets and the ability to be able to afford these. And so it's really limited to those specific use cases like professional photography at that time. We see that products that can cross that mass consumer price point and allow more mass consumers to be able to afford it are also very good products. So recently we had a drone product that was able to drop that videography drone price down to $100, and we saw that campaign be very successful. Another good example would be OmniCharge, taking a very, very powerful battery that traditionally might have been hundreds of dollars, sort of compacting that and offering consumer-level product for $100 as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Santi. Any more questions? Okay, thank you very much, Santi, for your wonderful presentation. Please be seated. And if you have any more questions to ask Santi, yes, please give a big clap to her.